Hermes has myopia? I feel like that is exactly the facial expression that Hades would make if he saw this movie. Heracles is already mortal. You have to have 2 divine parents in order to be immortal. Kairetefantes. Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth. I have a master's in classics from Oxford, and today we're going to be doing the very not anticipated part 2 to Disney's Hercules. Part 1 was about the character design. I'll link that up here if you want to watch that video first. Today is going to be about the plot. I am going to wear headphones just because I don't have a mic right now and I want to be able to separate the computer audio from my audio. I thought that I was going to hate this. I thought I was gonna hate it so much because the character design is so bad, and that was all I remembered about it from childhood. And so then I watched it and I was like, this is actually iconic. All right, let's get into it. Okay, headphones are in. Bear with me, I haven't done a video like this before. So I'm gonna start them off with 30 points just in acknowledgement of the fact that there are a lot of small details in this film that they got right, that are accurate, that I'm just like not gonna mention.
An age of powerful...
The statue they're showing right here is called the Artemisian bronze. Fun fact, he's also my husband. He has a braid around, if you look at the back of his head, his hair is braided, so he actually has quite long hair. The fact that he has long hair makes him seem like a god. The fact that he has a beard makes him seem like one of the older gods. And the fact that he was originally throwing something, which has now been lost, makes art historians think that this is either Zeus or Poseidon, because he'd be throwing either a lightning bolt or a trident.
We are the muses.
I like that there aren't 9 muses. I just learned this the other day, actually. It was originally like 3 or some like nebulous number, and then it was made to be like the number 9 in like the Roman period, I think. So maybe this is intentional. Zeus 100% did not defeat the Titans by himself. Like, Poseidon and Hades obviously were a big part of that, but also like their sisters, like Hera, Demeter, whatever. Like everybody was, this was a team effort, okay? So Mount Olympus is a real mountain in Greece. This is your PSA of the day. If you didn't know, Mount Olympus is real. Why wouldn't you use the silhouette of that actual mountain? Like, this looks absolutely nothing like Olympus. It's very difficult to depict Olympus because it's so kind of spread out. It's not like one sort of like, you know, cookie cutter shape the way that some mountains are. It's almost like a little mountain range, like not really, but it's just got a lot of like different peaks, but there are some specific formations to it, and this is obviously referencing none of them. So, you know, it's Disney, it's artistic, I get it, but like, come on. So right off the bat, they're using the Latin name Hercules instead of the Greek name Heracles. If you don't use the Greek form, you lose the irony in Heracles' name. His name is made up of 2 words, Hera and Kleos. Hera is the goddess, Kleos means glory, so Heracles means he who has the glory of Hera, which of course is deeply ironic because she hates him and she makes his life a misery. So the fact that the sort of kingdom of heaven is floating in the sky is probably accurate. That's why they've got flying horses. They are very much in the sky itself. So like, yes, they're physically on Mount Olympus, but they're also sort of just generally in the sky. So I like this. It's fine with me. I think it was like kind of a good compromise.
Yeah, you know, I had Orpheus do the arrangement.
Oh, we are not talking about Orpheus today.
Narcissus discovered himself.
Narcissus was a mortal who died away because he couldn't stop staring at his own reflection. He's not in the pantheon.
Here, keep those away from the baby.
So I hope I'm just joining the ranks of YouTubers who have said this. I don't think this is going to be news to you. If it is, seek help. Heracles is the son of Zeus and Alcmene, who in this film is Hercules' mortal sort of adoptive mother. Her husband's name is Amphitryon. Amphitryon goes off to war. Zeus is like, she's pretty, I'm going to disguise myself as her husband and then come in and... This is a family-friendly channel. The fact that they've made Hera Hercules' mother in this film is so deeply ironic to a classicist. Hera literally prevents Heracles from being born because she doesn't want him to be a ruler, because he's the child of her husband and somebody else. Which obviously is not his fault, nor is it his mother's fault, since she had no idea that she was sleeping with somebody else's husband and not her own husband.
His name is Pegasus.
I'm pretty sure that Pegasus has nothing to do with Heracles, but I'm just gonna fact check myself real quick. A 20-second Google search has revealed that, as I suspected, Pegasus has nothing to do with Heracles. He has to do with Bellerophon and Perseus. I get that they're not gonna make a movie about Bellerophon or Perseus, so they just stuck Pegasus into this movie because he's a famous figure and they wanted to put him in something, but like, you're peddling falsehoods, Disney. God.
How sentimental.
Yep, that's him.
He's so tiny.
He's not tiny. Heracles is so big as a baby that his mother Alcmene actually has difficulty giving birth to him.
If there's one god you don't want to get steamed up, it's Hades.
That is accurate.
as he was ruthless. He had a
So I can't not say this again. He's not fiery. Kerberos is not 3 stories tall. And the Styx is not full of, I think it might be full of dead people at one point, but usually it's just a river. Like the river itself is alive. It's a deity. It's either Acheron, who's a boy, or Styx, who's a girl. For the record, I've never seen a skull motif used anywhere in antiquity.
pain! Oh, and panic!
So what this is referencing is the fact that abstract concepts, usually fairly negative concepts, get personified in the like classical period and onwards. Let me say that in plain English. People like fate, vengeance, death, sleep, all kinds of people like that become deities. Basically, they get personified by like tragic authors like Euripides. So that's, I think, what they're referencing here, specifically pain and panic. And there's a river of pain, like the Acheron, like Achos is like really deep pain or grief, so it's kind of like the river of like pain / grief.
Memo to me, maim you after my meeting.
It tracks. Harpsichord. The fate's cutting the thread, that's pretty legit. The idea that like so many people over time have wound up in the underworld is so canon. So Hades has many names, one of which is the one who has many names. He's sometimes called like Polydegmon, or what's the other one? It means like he's ruling over many people. And the reason that it's many is because everybody dies, and then once they die, they just stay there. So it's like this cumulative process. So like there are a lot of people in the underworld for that reason. So I love that they've just made this like really complicated concept like actually accessible to children.
We knew you would be. We know everything.
They're doing the classic half the voice actors are American, half the voice actors are British thing. I don't understand it. Why can't they be like Australian or like Greek? Greek voice actors exist. Oh, another thing I almost forgot to mention is these aren't actually the Fates, they're the Grad, which means the old women. They're the ones who share the eyeball, and Perseus like tricks them by taking their eyeball.
Aye, verse. Aye.
That's exactly what I wrote on my textual criticism exam.
The once proud Zeus will finally fall.
So many films do this. So many. I was so tired of it. Hades and Zeus are 2 sides of the same coin. They're brothers, they collaborate on things. Hades has a lot of names. One of them is Zeus Chthonios, which means Zeus of the world below. In Orphism, they're practically the same person. They collaborate on a lot of things. Usually Hades stays out of Zeus's way because he's death, so he's pretty impartial. Hades' marriage was arranged by Zeus. Hades is not trying to take over Olympus. If anybody's trying to do that, it's Poseidon. Go read the Iliad.
So, here's the deal.
Where is Persephone? Is it summer? There's no Greek source I know of where she's not home. Oh, but it's
First, you gotta turn the little sunspot
Mortal.
Heracles is already mortal. You have to have 2 divine parents in order to be immortal. This is a kid's movie, so obviously they're not going to address the fact that Zeus like got with this guy's wife, like pretending to be him. So I'm not going to like take a huge amount of points for the fact that they've altered the genealogy, but I am going to take off 5. Man, Disney's going hard on this kind of mix and match approach where you like take an element of a myth and then you like copy and paste it into a different myth. I'm sure some people like this. Personally, I'm not a fan. Like, I'd rather that you just make something up rather than like kind of like confusing things in people's brains. So I just wanted to like pause for a second and point out every place where I noticed them doing this. So first of all, the Fates in this film are not actually the Fates, they're the Grad. They're the ones who share the eyeball, not the Fates. When their eyeball like bounces into Hades' hands and he like gives it back to them, I feel like that's referencing when Perseus takes the one eyeball away from the Grad. When Heracles wrestles the snakes, those snakes were sent by Hera to kill him, not by Hades. As I said before, Pegasus is not associated with Heracles in antiquity so far as I know. He's associated with Bellerophon and Perseus. The scene with the centaur Nessus and Megara, where Nessus tries to assault Megara, this is taken from a play called The Women of Trachis. It's actually a character who is Heracles' wife. She's like an alternative wife of Heracles. Her name is Deianira. She's the one who Nessus tries to assault, not Megara. So Philoctetes is associated with Heracles in antiquity. In one version they're actually lovers, but Philoctetes is human, he's not a satyr. He fights in the Trojan War, he gets wounded, and then Odysseus leaves him on an island to die. We love Odysseus, what a war hero. Heracles and Hades have beef with each other, but not for the reason they say they do in this movie. There are a few lines of the Iliad which are recounting a myth that has otherwise been lost to history, in which Heracles shoots Hades in the shoulder. It's thought that either it happens during Heracles' 12th labor when he goes down to the underworld to get Kerberos, or he's for some reason is fighting against the people of Elis, who are quite literally Hades' only worshippers in the world, and so Hades comes to defend them, and then Heracles shoots him in the shoulder. If you want to find out more about this story, there are a couple of scholarly sources that I would recommend. The first one is an article by a scholar named Karolina Sekita, who is a fellow at Oxford and a professor at Tel Aviv, and she kind of unpicks like what this little section of the Iliad is actually about. The other thing that I would recommend is much older. It's by a scholar called Nilsson. So he wrote this book called The Mycenaean Origin of Greek Mythology, and in it he talks briefly about these two narratives, one in which Heracles shoots Hades in the shoulder, and one in which Heracles goes down to get Kerberos and brings him up from the underworld. And his theory is that the version in which Heracles shoots Hades in the shoulder is older, and that was Heracles' way of doing his ultimate hero-ly thing of triumphing over death, and that Greek culture essentially forgot that they had this myth, like it was lost to history, and then they invented this new version in which he goes down to the underworld and gets Kerberos because he needed to triumph over death, and they basically forgot that he had already done that. And so then we wind up with these two narratives, in both of which Heracles is triumphing over death. That was a huge tangent, but anyway, I'm just gonna knock off 20 points for all the times that Disney is messing things up unnecessarily. So the Greeks actually did believe that if you walk up to a statue that sometimes it would be inhabited by the deity. They kind of thought that they would like come down and like hang out in these statues, which is why sometimes like in certain festivals, they would, for example, make a peplos for the statue of Athena in the Parthenon, and then they would bring it to her and they would put it on the statue. I should have said this in the character design video, but I fully didn't like notice. He looks like he's wearing like a barrister's wig. He looks like he's wearing an 18th century wig. Candles didn't exist yet. They had something called tapers, but wax candles were invented by the Romans.
Girls! Stop! Come back! Come back!
So the fact that satyrs chase nymphs around a lot and that there's some non-con in that is canon.
Whoa!
Daphne?
When rescuing a damsel, always handle with care.
Usually what heroes do when there's a damsel who is not immediately protected by a male family member is something that I'm not going to talk about because this is a family-friendly channel.
To be a true hero, kid, is a dying art.
I've got to point out the fact that he says that being a hero is a dying art. So Hesiod is an author. He describes these different kind of generations of mortals. You have like a golden generation, then a silver generation, and a bronze generation, and each one is kind of worse than the last. And so there's this idea that also is in like, I think you could say it's in the Iliad and the Odyssey as well, that like the older the hero, the kind of like more heroic and manly they are. It's kind of like how people say like, oh, they don't make stuff like they used to. It's the kind of like the same idea. So I like that they found a way to work that in here.
Easy, fellas. You'll be all right.
It's nice that Hercules is saving some children because in antiquity he kills his own children because Hera drives him mad. So let's just pause it here for a second. Personally, I have a massive issue with the fact that they are depicting Heracles as a hero in this film. Heracles, in a couple of Greek plays, is just not a great person. He kills his children, as I said. He's driven mad by Hera, so okay, he can't really control it, whatever. In one version of the Heracles myth, Heracles goes to a neighboring kingdom, asks the king if he can have his daughter Iole as his concubine. He is already married at this point. The king, of course, says no. Heracles goes away, some other stuff happens. Then he goes back to the kingdom, kills the king, takes his daughter back as a hostage, and then I think he also kills the king's son at one point. So yeah, he's not a great guy all around.
I was really moved.
He's eating worms?
Match.
He's smoking a cigar.
And this perfect package.
So obviously authenticity is not the goal here. It's a kid's movie. I'm just gonna knock 10 points off. We're gonna skip right through this scene.
Nice shooting, Rex.
She calls him king in a language that hasn't been invented yet.
Maybe I haven't been throwing the right curves at him. Couldn't have done it without you, sugar, sweetheart, babe.
So I like how Disney has gone to such extreme lengths to cover up the fact that Zeus slept with Alcmene because this is a kid's movie, and yet they are completely comfortable taking arguably the most monogamous god in the pantheon and having him be pervy towards Megara for literally no reason.
You sold your soul to me to save your boyfriend's life.
So soul selling is something that the devil does. This is a huge pet peeve for Elizabeth. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, is it a pet peeve. Hades is not the devil. When Hades was born, the devil was about 1,000 years away from being in any kind of literature, okay? It is such an anachronism to refer to him in any way, shape, or form as the devil, or to reference anything that the devil usually does and then tack it on him because he is so much older. And I also think it's kind of rude because Christianity is the culture that single-handedly wiped out Hellenic polytheism. So is it any surprise that I am getting mad as hell about this? Oops.
No chance! No way!
Oh, this song. Plus 20 points for this song. Also, every time the muses show up, it just like puts a smile on my face.
Check the green.
Getting a little too friendly with a statue. I'm not gonna say it's not canon.
Must have a chunk of brimstone wedged in my ear or something.
Brimstone is a Christian thing! This is perfect. He's usually the one to come between you and a loved one because everyone dies. In Greek tragedy, when loved ones are about to be separated by death, they're always gonna mention Hades.
Let her go!
Here's the trade-off.
So, he goes right through Hades. He goes through him as if he is a ghost. He's not made of anything corporeal. As I said previously, he shoots Hades in the shoulder at one point. Hades has a wound, he has to go to Olympus to be healed. He definitely isn't like a ghost. He isn't able to just be passed through like nothing.
The whole cosmos up there waiting for me.
So Hades' chariot is golden, it's pulled by horses, probably 4 of them. It also doesn't have teeth. It's Charybdis? Oh, it's Tartarus!
Brothers!
They're not his brothers, they're his uncles and aunts.
Who put you down there?
You did! So can we just take a second to remind ourselves that Hades was swallowed by his father at birth, as were all of his siblings. His father, Kronos, is one of the Titans. Is that somebody you would be letting out of Tartarus anytime soon?
Guys, Olympus would be that way.
Plus 5 points for this joke. Hermes has myopia? I don't feel like Zeus has multiple lightning bolts. I'm gonna knock a point off for that.
Listen, Hercules is in trouble.
She would be kicked in the head by that horse and she would be right back in the underworld.
Come on, hurry up!
The ship has eyes on it, that's definitely accurate. Also, they would not be casting off in this storm. He's riding. What? So obviously getting Kerberos out of the underworld and taking him for a walk is Heracles' 12th labor. But they're just having him come in riding him? Like, he's not even this tall, you can't ride him, he's a normal-sized dog.
Meg!
So the Psyche, or ghosts, are in Asphodel traditionally. They sort of wander around, they can go different places, Persephone can send them different places, but they're definitely not like hanging out in the Styx. I'm wondering if maybe there's some Latin source that says that there are some souls hanging out in the Styx that I like haven't read. Often that will happen to me, but I haven't read anything that says that. I also haven't read anything that says that the Styx or the Acheron, because as I said, they're interchangeable, like makes people age. So I do feel like that's kind of spreading some misinformation here, so minus 5 points.
Get away from me! Don't touch me! Get your slimy souls off!
Minus 20 points for the fact that Hades is calling the souls slimy and telling them to get off of him. Man's gonna come after you if you don't respect the dead. Like, literally, if you don't bury somebody, if you kill somebody who's related to you, there are a lot of ways to tick him off that have to do with disrespecting dead people. The idea that he's gonna be disrespecting dead people is ludicrous. Usually you need an escort to get to and from the underworld. It's usually Hermes. So Heracles is not a god, as I've said, but there is one source in which he is snatched up by the gods from his burning funeral pyre and taken to Olympus to live among the gods. Also, if you look really far back in time, Heracles was worshipped as a god. He would have like little shrines and things like that that people would sacrifice to him. So that's what they're kind of referencing here. And then they're trying to also tie it back to the fact that they had to invent a new genealogy for him to cover up the fact that Zeus assaulted Alcmene, and that's why Heracles is in the world. I do want to point out though, mortals don't get deified for doing good deeds. Usually it's because Zeus wants to sleep with you. That's it for this video. If you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. I make comics over on my Instagram and TikTok, so you can check me out over there as well if you would like to. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to be talking about Madeline Miller's Circe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.